Hey guys, I'm back. I haven't done a live in a really, really long time. But I felt like coming on here and saying hi to you guys. So I am going to wait a little bit. This live was kind of last minute, so I don't know how many people are going to participate. Even though I did put it on Instagram. So we shall see. So I hope everybody is doing good. Today was nice and cool. I loved it. The high today was like, I think it's something like 74. I don't even know if it actually got 74. Let's see. What's Yeah, actually, I only got to 72. So it was actually pretty cool this morning. As a matter of fact, I left my bathroom window open, and I was really surprised when I got up this morning. It made the heat in the bathroom kick on because my bathroom is on its own heating system. So that kicked on. I was like, oh, well, I wasn't expecting that. But you know what? I didn't mind. This hot weather has been very draining. You know what? The past couple summers have just been They've just been really rough, really, really rough. They've been rough on the garden, they've been rough on me. And so tonight I wanted to go over how my garden did because this summer I have been, MIA because I've been doing peonies, petals, and posies. And with going to the farmers markets, taking care of the plants, I just didn't get to film as much. I do have some videos, and I'm almost to the end of my season, and so once that happens, you're gonna probably get like a glut of videos that because I did tour some gardens and that sort of thing, as I typically do, and so I'll get those up, but it won't be that many. So, you probably guys will probably be like, get I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks of videos. I'm just gonna post them every day because I don't feel like having a backlog, especially because I want to start some stuff for the winter. So let's go, or I guess I should let me go over how my gardening season went this year. It didn't really, the heat was rough. So the spring, I would say overall, my garden was definitely not as colorful as it typically is during the growing season. The springs, got off to a decent start. I have the peonies. I have, the Baptisia that were going. Let's see, I had the lupine. So there was a lot of things early on in spring that bloomed. And of course, because it's cooler, everything was just happier. Oh, let's see. I see Francesca up here. Hi, Francesca. I'm doing good. How are you? I'm going over how my garden was this past season. So Yeah. Yeah, I don't I haven't done a live in a while. I've been so busy lately that I haven't had time, but I wanted to come on here because I feel like you guys are gonna forget who I am. And I'm glad you're doing well. Um, I think you're in Francesca, where exactly are you in the US? Are you in the northern states? Because I don't for some reason I don't think you're in the South, but I can't remember. But yeah, all of my spring stuff, I just had I did have things that bloom, and oh yeah, it's nice to meet you too. Um, oh, you're from Minnesota. Okay. So yeah, I did think you were a little bit northern, more north than I was. So yeah, with the spring stuff, I got blooms, but in times past, I felt like there was a lot of overlap between, like, for example, the peonies, the bearded irises, and I'm trying to think what was the other thing. But I just felt like everything kind of bloomed kind of all at the same time, and then it's like the summer stuff started, and this year I just felt like everything was a lot more spaced out. And so I didn't get I guess the color impact that I typically did. And then once the summer started, and especially once we got that heat wave, everything went into dormancy. I mean, even like my hibiscus actually didn't do well this year. The two of the ones I have that are red, that are at the back of My driveway beds, those did well, but, like, I had, let's see, I wanna say I had Brandy Punch, which is a pink one, barely bloomed. I had, one by Proven Winners called, French Vanilla, didn't really do much, which is surprising because they usually like heat. Now the hibiscus that I grew from seed did well. But overall, it was just really, really weird this year. So this summer, I just had a lot of green. But like once I got past, let's see, I know I had the it was like I had Oriental lilies, Asiatic lilies, and then I think the last real colorful thing that I remember having was the gladiolus. And then after that, it just seemed like everything went into heat dormancy. That's what happens in my vegetable garden. Everything is always ready at once. Yeah. And so with the summer, I'm trying to think, what did I have blooming in the summer? Um, because my perennials last year was like their third year, so they're really hitting their stride. I haven't been putting a lot more, I haven't really been putting annuals in the parterre garden. So next year, I definitely think I need to do that because I was really missing color. Now, in the orange section, those dreaded 4 o'clocks. I know Catherine loves them. I will say they gave some badly needed color to the orange section because everything else was kind of, all the other sections were very ended up being very muted. So next year I definitely want to add some more annuals. I'm probably gonna add more things like zinnias. Like I like zinnias. They do really well in the heat, and I think I need to do that to kind of boost the color in the garden over the summer. Also something like what's another one like. I feel like the marigolds did do well in the heat, and I'm definitely gonna put some amaranth in my garden. Like this year, I did a lot of amaranth. I think for the farmer's market. I didn't really put any in mine. And if I start them early enough, they'll actually give me some decent, they'll give me color earlier on. So that's what I need to work on next year is getting a lot of heat loving annuals in to give my garden some more color. Because it was just very, very boring. Of course, once the temperature started breaking, then a lot of other things have now started to bloom. That quite frankly, there's some things I was getting ready to pull. I thought they were weeds. Like I have this one thing called Tortuga turtle head. I planted last year. I didn't know what it looked like, and I was like, oh, that's a giant weed. And so I'm glad that I didn't get around to pulling it because I would have been so upset once I realized what I did. So let's see. My coneflower this year were a little weird too. Um, because for whatever reason, so my yellow coneflower and my orange coneflower stayed the colors that they were supposed to. But all of like I had a lot of different types of reds and they did have different undertones, but all the reds and even when I think about it, I have green twister. They all ended up looking very, very purple this year. To the point that I it couldn't really distinguish which variety was which. Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, yeah, they're pretty. I just didn't get a lot of I just didn't get a lot of this year. I was a little sad about that. But some of a lot of echinacea that I had that I know were like vibrant red, they all ended up looking very purple. I couldn't really tell which one was which. I think the only ones that I remember being able to distinctly say, "Oh yeah, I know definitely which one this was I think it's the Sunseeker, it was either Sunseeker Salmon or Sunseeker Rainbow, and quite frankly, I don't know which one it was because that was kind of looking identical to the other one. So I know it's the heat. I know the sun was very intense this year. When I think about it, I was actually reading an article by the Royal Horticultural Society, and um, they were talking about like the changing weather patterns, and they were talking about like less cloud cover. And now I think that I'm like, you know what? I think there was less cloud cover here too, which was explain why the sun this year was so bad. So um, I think so next year, in addition to zinnias, I'm going to try some marigolds that might add some a pop of color. The other thing is I'm going to do some um like more coleus. I didn't do any coleus this year. Some of the, especially some of the newer varieties, can handle the sun and that sort of thing because that actually adds their foliage. They actually add a nice bit of color to certain beds. So, like in the red section, there's a lot of red coleus. The pink section, there's some nice pink ones. Um, there is an orange coleus, I think it's called Inferno, so I'm gonna try to see if I can get some of that, just to do some more color blocking. In the yellow section, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. You know what? The Rudbeckia actually in that section actually did really well this year, and the Yarrow did pretty good. I probably should have cut it back, but it got so hot it wasn't gonna rebloom it anyway. But let's see, the sunflower, I had a lot of volunteers with that, so those are pretty colorful. I probably need to up the amount of sunflowers I have next year. Um, and then there was the vegetable garden. Let's see, what's my favorite flower variety? Ooh, just depends upon what day of the week you ask me. Hmm. I'm trying to think. What is my favorite flower variety? Um, I like zinnias now that I found different colors and the ones from Floret, I just started and they're going to be blooming. And she has some other colors that are coming out, so I think those are going to be nice. I do like the zinnias. There was the zinnias I grew from Renee's garden see a couple years ago that were really, really they were really I love the color of them. I think it was called Raspberry Ripple or something like that. Um, I was like zinnia, not zinnias. Peonies are probably one of my favorite flowers. I've been getting more into roses, though I have to say my rose garden this year did not do well. That's my fault. I really didn't prep things the way I should have. I always think I can do more than what I can actually do. Um, so this particular fall, I'll be cleaning that out, getting all that straight, and kind of setting it up for next year. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply bone meal and blood meal. Once we've gotten past our killing frost, because it'll break down over the winter, and that way it'll be available to the roses for next year. Yeah, I like roses. I'm trying to get more into cutting type roses as opposed to the David Austins, which are landscape roses, because I would like to make more bouquets. And the David Austin landscape roses don't really do very well. Um, so those are some things I got to work on. So I'm trying to take some in fall. I have a lot of heirloom chrysanthemums, and so some of them haven't even started budding up yet. So that's definitely I really like that in fall because that gives a lot of color, especially when everything else starts kind of um, winding down. So that's a fall thing. I'm trying to think what else. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. I'm going to get off the live stream and be like, oh, yeah, I remember there was all these other plants. I'm trying to think what's another one I really like. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. I have so many different types of flowers, I can't remember them. um, and then let's see. Oh, last thing was my vegetable garden. So my vegetable garden did not do too well. Part of that was because of the hot weather, and the other part was user error. So I set up my irrigation and I had it all scheduled, and for reasons that I do not understand, I forgot to turn the water spigot on. So during the entire heat wave, they weren't getting any water. I'm surprised that they didn't burn to a crisp. But I realized that at a certain point in time. So, uh, yeah. So I had bug issues. I did have some what you call it? Well, what is it? The squash borer vine. I found it and I killed it. I was so mad. I took savage pleasure in squishing that worm. I did use diatomaceous earth. I did get a few cucumbers this year earlier in the season. I actually pickled some of them. Um, And the rest of them just kind of didn't do well. But once again, that was user error on my part. Next year, I'm gonna have to make sure I get the water and the drip and everything up. You know, better than what I did. Next year, I think I'm gonna change the type of with the drip, I'm gonna change what I'm using, um, because I think I need to do better. I don't know. I'm not sure the little drip tubing that I'm the quarter inch drip tubing, I'm not sure it's really working as well as what I need. I'm gonna try the inline drip tube because it's like half a gallon and I think it's gonna drip better. Or there are a couple of where are they? Because I actually got some because I'm actually going to be using some in the nursery. Actually, let me go get them so you can see what they look like. So this is what they are. So they are drippers on a stake. So basically, wherever the plant is, I can just like stick it down. This one is this is a 2-gallon one. Um, so I'm thinking this might do better in the vegetable garden for next year. The other thing I'm thinking about doing, I'm definitely going to do next year. Um, I'm going to mulch. I'm actually going to mulch in the vegetable garden. And in the vegetable garden, like I wouldn't use like the hardwood mulch like that you get at the store. I would use either wood chips, but I'm probably going to use cedar. Because I think that's going to retain the moisture better, keep the roots cooler. I think the plants are going to probably do better. As a matter of fact, now think about it, I think a couple of years ago, I did mulch everything and I got out of the habit of doing that and I don't know why. So I'm going to try that and I'm going to try some new drip and I'm hoping that next year I get a bit of better harvest. The other thing is next year I'm going to start my squashes and zucchinis a lot earlier. So that so basically, like what I did this year, I started my tomatoes inside, and by the time May rolled around, um, my I had the tomato in a gallon size container, and it was huge. And I think I'm going to do that with the squash and zucchini, even if I have to get like 5-gallon containers to go inside. That way, they'll be really substantial. Let me see. I got a hold on a second. I got a lot of comments here. Hang on. um, you think the app would have alerted you. You know what? The app just tells me that with my water, I'm assuming this is what you're talking about. The app just tells me that it turned on. It wasn't, I'm trying to think. I don't think it doesn't really register the water coming out. It just says it turned on and then it turned off. So let's see. I use a lot of cornstalk bales for my garden. Oh, do you when you say cornstalk bales, is that for like mulching and weed control? I've never tried that one. But yeah, I think I'm gonna do cedar because I've done cedar in the past, and I think the plants will like it better. And um I know. Actually, I also kind of wonder if I'm using cedar, will that help with some of the bug issues like the squash bugs and the harlequin bugs? I'm wondering. Actually, this year I didn't have quite as I did see some harlequin bugs like recently. I did see some squash bugs, but I did some diatomaceous earth, and I think next year I'm going to also do some beneficial nematodes to deal with the whole vine borer issue. Because y'all, I haven't got like, the way I was used to getting like cucumbers and zucchinis and even like the butternut squash and like I didn't get any pumpkins this year. I'm so upset. I was like, I gotta figure this out. Hello, G Mama Grows. It's nice to see everybody. This is what I love about StreamYard because I can put everybody up here. And G Mama Grow says hi to everyone in the chat. Um, my dog and my cat are up here with me. I actually have a cat, y'all. I found a little kitten underneath a shrub in my yard. The mom abandoned her, and she was tiny little thing. She was only like my supervisor's daughter helped me catch her. She was only like 1.357 pounds, and so now she's the little baby cat's getting nice and fat. Like I took her to the vet like a couple weeks ago, and she's like 4 pounds. Let me see if I can get her to come over. Hey, Bandersnatch, Bandersnatchy, come here, sweetie. Hey, hey, little kitty. Bumper Snoot. Now, Bumper Snoot, come here. Bumper Snoot, say hi to everybody. So Bumper Snoot is right here, and he was sitting next to me. He gets a little bit jealous with the cat. Okay, come here. And the cat loves like jumping on his tail. Okay, come here, kitty. Can you get Bumper Snoot? Can you get out of my? Ooh, okay. Okay, Bumper Snoot, can you get out of my lap, please, so I can see my and so I always felt like I wanted an outdoor cat, but to kind of keep the pests around or down. But she's indoors, and you know what? In the fall I get you know pests. Ooh, Bandy. Oh my goodness. Hang on, guys. She is. I hope you're not. Hey, let's show everybody your little face. Let's say hi to everybody. Okay, here we go. Oh, okay. So anyway, the dog and cat really like each other, and they're. I think the dog is getting ready to start chasing the all the chat's saying hello to each other right now. So they really like each other, and so they spend a lot of time wrestling and that sort of thing. So it's kind of fun. Um, I think Bumper Snoot and Bumper Snoot definitely seems to enjoy the company. He still barks at me when I leave and everything, but I have a feeling they really, I think she's good company for him. So she is getting big, she's getting strong, she's pulling herself up on stuff. I do, pull her off of things so she's not scratching and kind of redirect her. I've got scratching posts everywhere. And if she starts scratching something that I want to, I immediately like run over and grab her so she doesn't, destroy anything. Um, so yeah. So one of the things I need to do, I don't know if I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to get to this fall. Is I need to replace all of my drip irrigation tubing. I have well water, and my well water has iron deposit. It has iron in it, and so I don't think the drip tubing is quite as effective as it is, just because it's getting clogged. The other thing is that, of course, because I mulch things, um, I think it's getting clogged that way. So I'm debating on whether or not I'm going to go with drip tubing or if I'm going to go with drip tape. Um, I'm going to have to test the water pressure on my faucet because drip tape can't handle quite as much pressure as drip tubing. I'm thinking about going. Drip tape is cheaper, which is why I'm thinking about switching to it, because I think with that I'm probably going to have to replace it every couple of years. And so, since if I'm going to have to do that, then I'd rather go with something a little bit, cheaper. But I don't know what happened to me last night. I don't know if it was the oatmeal I ate, but y'all, was pulling weeds last night, and I've got like goldenrod or something in one of my beds, and I'm like tugging on it and pulling it, and it was near like the spigot. I have spigots sticking out the ground. You guys, like when I pulled that plant out, like I don't know how it happened. The foot and a half spigot came out of the ground, like it came out. So I heard like this weird gurgling noise, and then I noticed all this water starting to come up. So oh gosh. So I had to grab a flashlight. I ran down into the basement, and I had to shut um the water to the irrigation off. So that happened last night. So tomorrow I will be calling my irrigation guy to tell him to get to see if he can come out immediately and replace the lines, because that particular pipe, so I can turn the water back on, because it is supposed to be getting warmer towards the end of this week, and I won't have a way to water my plants. But last but not least, I'm excited because I don't know if you guys follow me on my business, which is Peonies, Petals, and Posies. But did find have a final look for the containers for next year. So here we go. I know I had posted a picture and I was testing out a clear label with white writing. And so this is a 2 by 4 label, but seeing how this is a gallon container, I thought it would look better if I did a much bigger label. So it does. It's Bandersnatch. He just grabbed my hair. Hang on. Ow. Hey, stop. I think he's why my hair is moving as I'm talking and it's getting a little hunting instinct. So it definitely looks better this way. And so I got to work on getting it adhered to the side of the container better and smoothing it out properly. This is the first one I put on. Uh, so now that I have that, there are some perennials that I have that I'm going to bump up into gallon containers. I'm just gonna have them outside for next year because they didn't sell this year, which is fine. But they do. Some of them do go with my color theme for next year, so I can just have bigger varieties for next year. Oh, that's pretty. Oh yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about the pot, or maybe you're talking about the cat. Yeah, I was really hoping to get pots that were pre-printed with my logo. But you have to you can do them, but it's like a minimum order of like 8 pallets. And so that's a gallon size container. So eight, so I think in one pallet, it's like 4,800 because I actually have a pallet. And so the minimum order was like 8. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about all that. That's a lot. So I did but the one company was like, oh, well, we have some like pink pots left over, and I was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll take them. So I got the label on there. It's by Sticker U, and so I didn't, I gotta be honest with you, I didn't do the best job. I'll have to see because it's supposed to be a permanent adhesive, so I don't know if I can reapply this. I'll just, I may just get like a credit card or something and try to smooth it down because I can see a lot of bubbles on it. But you know what? I'll get better at it and then it'll go on more smoothly. But yeah, that's how I did it. So the white pops much better than the black. And so that's what I'm doing. Oh, and the last thing that I'm doing, because I want to show you guys this, one of the things that when I was going through some of the catalogs for greenhouse stuff, I found a plant pie. It's called a plant pie. And so basically, because I would like to be able to do, I would like to be able to do like containers for people for next year. But the thing is, actually getting especially because going to a farmer's market, if I do, 14-inch containers, that cuts down on the amount of stuff that I can take. And it's just a lot to haul. But one thing I can do is do plant pies and sell the plant pie. So basically, you're just popping the entire thing out and just putting it in your own container without having to buy a bunch of things. So hold on a second. Let me see if I can share my screen with you guys. I think I just muted myself, guys. That's not what I intended to do. Okay, hang on a second. Okay. Present, let's see. Oh, share screen. Here we go. Window, here we go. This is what a plant pie looks like. And so you can get them like 8 inches or 11 inches. So basically, you put your plugs, like you fill this with dirt, you put the plugs around it. And I'm pretty sure that in a greenhouse, this is how they actually, like, if they're doing containers, well, they may actually be filling the containers, but like they may be putting it into this, growing it to a certain size, and then basically flipping the tray out and then just, you know, putting it into container. So I think that with the 8-inch diameter, that probably would be good for a pot, maybe up to, I don't know, maybe 12 inches. And whereas 11-inch diameter, probably, for a bigger pot, so you can, I was looking at some like container recipes, and I think like for a 14-inch pot, you can do like 6 or so plants in there. So I'm gonna try that, and I will see how that goes. When I explained to my mom, what I was looking to do, I asked her. She said she thought that sounded pretty good, and she said she would buy a plant pot. Oh yeah. Well, you know what? I didn't know it was called a plant pie either. It was just when I was in, like, like I said, I've been getting like the greenhouse catalog. So when I was like, and so these things are like hundreds of pages long. So when I was going through them, I saw the round thing. It was like plant pie, and I'm like, plant pie? What? And then they had a little description. I was like, oh my goodness, that would actually be really, really cool. Actually, that would be really, I think, a good idea, because when I think about it, I'm thinking like this legal pad, this notepad I have. This is like 11 inches. Is 8.5 by 11. So that means it'd be a round circle. That's gonna be a fairly sizable, thing. Um, so I think that would be really nice, and I could sell them, you know, and just, like, basically do your own containers. And because they're not people aren't buying like the whole pot and all the dirt, because that's really, yeah, that kind of does make it expensive. Um, it would be cheaper, because I was looking at some like 14-inch pots, and they were like $50. I'm like, oh, okay. And I was like, and we're in fall, so how long is this really gonna last? Let's see. The plant pie sounds brilliant. It's like those proven willow. Oh, the proven winter pillows. Why? You know what? I forgot what those look like. You know what? Hold on a second. Proven. Oh wait, pillows. Hang on. Were those? Were those? I guess, yeah, it probably is similar to that. I'm gonna actually looking to see what it is. Hold on a second. Oh, this one. Okay, so this one is a square. Okay. Yeah, so this one is a square one. But yeah, it seems like similar, except the thing is, I mean, so I can't see what it actually. I guess you just put it in directly. I mean, are the plants in the pillow kind of like essentially grow, like, have the roots all like interconnected, or can you still separate them a little bit? Uh, Bigger pots are, yeah, the bigger pots are expensive, and so I think having I they really are, and so I think having a plant pie, will be um, a much more affordable option for people, because even if I can fit like 6 plants in there, I think I'm trying to think, because I did like a planter tray of 18, and I think I did like $4, because it was a big, a thing. But these are probably gonna be smaller, so maybe $3, or actually, you know what? No, probably by the time that I sell them, yeah, it probably will be 4 bucks per plant. But the thing is, I think with some of them, you can only really fit like maybe, depending upon what I use, I maybe only be able to fit like 6 plants. So, $24 for the plants, really. But if you already have a planter, you're just like, basically this is just the insert essentially to go in for it. So, I've been playing around with some recipes. So with one of them, I'm going to be doing, the thriller element is probably going to be the vanilla, ice sunflower. It's multi-branching, and I'll have some celosia in there, and some marigold as filler. And actually, I think I'm gonna do There's another filler, and I can't remember what it is. Is it Gomphrena? Oh, you know what? I'm getting baby's breath. Speaking of which, I gotta order those seeds. And then in the other one, I'm doing gonna do some of the floret, little florets, dahlias. I'm gonna start those from seed. I think that will make a nice thriller element, and I'll hook it up. I'll have a couple things because I'm also gonna be doing what you call it, Bell's of Ireland next year. And oh, you know what? I just realized something. I got white Baptisia and I got cream Baptisia, and I hope I put those in the freezer to get some to get some chill period. I'll have to do that after this live stream. Okay, so it has 5 or so plants, and you put them in your container, and they fill out quickly. I have some in huge urns. Okay, so it's 4 or 5 plants. Okay, um, okay, so it's 4 by 6. Okay. So yeah, so well the pot oh, okay, that's 4 by 6. Oh, okay, so that's a lot smaller than what I'm doing because that pie plate is it's either 8 inches or it's 11-inch circle. So okay, so there probably will be more. I could probably fit some extra plants in there. Um, but yeah, no, I think it'll be fun. So anyway, I'll see how it goes. I think a lot of people I'm hoping a lot of people will like them. And so yeah, so I'm just setting myself up for next year. I'm getting a piece of equipment. I'll be ordering that in October. It is a vacuum wand vacuum seeder. And then I'm actually going to start doing some of the perennials like the Baptisia and stuff now because if I do it now, I don't know with the perennials, it seems like it takes them a little bit to really get going. In so they'll probably need the time just to kind of put on enough growth to get to so when I put them out, they'll be sizable. I'm going to be doing some plugs this year. I'm going to be ordering them from Ball Horticultural. So there is the pink. It's a pink lavender. It's called Pink Elegance, and there's one called White Elegance. So I'm going to be getting some of that. Plus, I'm doing some ranunculus. Oh, and I remember the other thing that I'm going to be doing for my vegetables for next year. That's going to be different. I think I'm going to put like hoops over my over the raised beds, and I'm going to be using shade cloth. I'm in a local gardening group, and one of the women in the gardening group said she saw some. I think it was some sort of um agricultural article. I'll have to look into it. That said that um because somebody was asking a question about how why their squash really didn't they got really low yield. And so the person who was talking about this article they read said that basically because once it's like 90 past 95 degrees consistently, some of the vegetables like squash and that sort of thing have an issue with flower set. So I'm thinking of putting hoops over the raised beds and then putting shade cloth. So because if it really is the heat that's stopping them from flowering, which totally could be true because plants do stop producing when with heat dormancy, the shade cloth will reduce the heat under the shade cloth. So I'll just kind of make sure I have the tall hoops and then and the I've seen some things that said that people who've used it said that their plants get a little bit stringy. Um and that's fine, but at the end of the day, I really want I want produce. And so I'm willing to put up with a little stringiness if that means I actually get some butternut squash next year. Because y'all, the last time I had any type of squash for my garden was back in 2020. I haven't gotten anything since then. Somebody says, oh wait, I did this one. Has 5 or 6 plants. Yes, I did. Yes, I did see this one already. Comment already. So anyway, guys, anybody have any questions about anything in my garden before I sign out? I did visit a lot of gardens this year. Let's see, I did, so I did a lot of home and garden tours which are mostly more home than garden. And I did that in 2 different towns, and then I went to Bucks County Beautiful, and I toured some stuff. There's the one place on that tour had it was like a couple, they had that house built in 1977, and they lived there ever since, and it was 10 acres, and they garden. I mean, they could use more plants because I'm just like, it's great. I mean, it was a nice start, but I'm like, y'all need to up the amount of plants. The one the wife loves poppies, and there was a lot of poppies that were blooming. They had this lake, and I asked the husband like, "Oh, was this lake here?" And he said, "Well, it was a really small pond," and he said, "And I expanded it 3 times to its current size, and it was huge." But they had this barn that kind of it had 2 levels, and on the 2nd level, it had this wraparound porch. It was absolutely great, and then, of course, my horticultural society had a garden tour, and that was nice, and that was in the Kennett Square area around Longwood, and then recently, I went back to Winneton, so I got to see it, in August, and I had seen it the first time I seen it, it was in spring, so I got to talk to the owner, so I think he forgot that he and I had a conversation because I was like, "Oh, by the way, did you get a second gardener?" And he was like, "No." I was like, "Well, you said you were looking for one." And he told me he was actually going to buy 3 more acres. He's like, "I want to do this while I'm young because," and he's got it all planned out. And then one of the other members was like, he's 80. He's in his 80s. And I'm like, "Oh, that's what he talks about as being young." I'm like, "Wow." I mean, the thing is, he didn't look like he was in his 80s. He was very sprightly, but I think the gardening just keeps him young. But I just thought it was so fun. He's like, "I want to get this 3 acres and undo all this stuff while I'm young." He said, "But if I get that 3 acres," he said, "I'm gonna get a second gardener." I'm like, okay. I was like, okay. But speaking of gardeners, I had somebody message me through Facebook, and it's like, "Oh, hey, by the way, I do landscaping and gardening." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. I will keep that in mind." And it's a younger guy, and I'm like, "You know what? I need a strapping male to carry all this stuff." I'm like, somebody else can do it. I was like, "I'm okay. I'm going to use that. I'm getting too old for this. You know, it's all right." So, anyway, guys, this live ended up being longer than I thought it was going to be, but I'm going to sign off. I'm going to try not to let the next live I be so long in the future. I think the next one I'm going to do, I'm going to show you guys the plants and the seeds that I'm doing for next year because that's gonna be exciting. And then I'm gonna do an experiment this year about with growing vegetables indoors. So I bought a book on that. So that'll be another live. So anyway, guys, I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys in the next video or the next live stream, which hopefully will be sometime within the next couple of weeks. So, oh, in case you guys were wondering, I'm officially closing for the season on the 21st. I will be back at the Burlington County Agricultural Center, but I will be having, sales on the rest of the annuals, and the chrysanthemums I'm probably only going to do like 20% off because they're perennials. So, but yeah, so September 21st, and then I can have a little bit of downtime to get ready for next year. So anyway, see you guys later. Bye.